Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Week 9 edition of the Orange and Brown Breakdown Presents Rapid React, coming to you right after the Cleveland Browns 22-17 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at First Energy Stadium on Sunday, November 2nd, 2014. This was a game that the Browns were expected to win. They did win. They didn't do it pretty once again, but this is the Cleveland Browns team we're going to have to get used to in 2014. Obviously they're missing pieces. Looks like they might be missing a little more after today. We are coming to you right after the game, so I don't know the status on Andrew Hawkins, who suffered what looked like a brain injury today. So, if you're keeping score at home, that's Jordan Cameron out. That's Andrew Hawkins out. So pretty much leaves that wide receiving core down to the pieces parts from all over the rest of the NFL. Browns pull it out in the end. Probably managed the clock okay, having to run a fourth down play to heave it up in the air and run the clock down to zeros with a 5-point lead. But they get it done. They moved 5-3 on the year. Big one with Cincinnati coming up next week, but we'll get into that in just a second. The four things I was really looking at going into today's game. You had the offensive line play, which has been questionable suspect since Alex Mack went down a couple weeks ago against Pittsburgh. These last three games have been pretty rough, but these last three games were games that the Browns should have been able to survive. They come out of a stretch against winless and one-win teams in Jacksonville, Oakland, and Tampa Bay, 2-1. A lot of us expected them to be 3-0, but the fact that we have that level of expectation on the Cleveland Browns at this point is probably a very good sign. The fact that they struggled to get there, probably not as good a sign, but this is just surviving injury. Every team has to go through this. A lot tougher with the Browns playing without Alex Mack, and that's the first thing I looked at. The offensive line play with Nick McDonald making his second start at center didn't look good. Of course, he's got the Tampa Bay's franchise player Gerald McCoy lining up opposite of him. They looked bad early. It didn't look so bad in the end, but final numbers: Brian Hoyer sacked 3 times for a total of 20 yards. 7 total tackles for loss for the Tampa Bay defense, netting them 21 yards in the red for the Browns, and 1.8 yards per carry. Team that's supposed to be playing to its run and playing to its defense. Didn't look particularly good on either side of the ball in the run game. I think 48 yards was the final tally for Ben Tate, and actually about 60 yards combined between the two of them. So things not looking good on the offensive line. It's going to continue to be an issue. They're going to pay for that a little more against Cincinnati than Cincinnati and Baltimore than you're going to see from Lovie Smith's Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. That team, by the way, looked fundamentally sound. It's not a wonder that they're in a lot of games, but it's tough to say that they've got any kind of an answer there, and Mike Glennon at quarterback. That's why there's a controversy between Glennon and Josh McCown, but we saw Glennon all day. Didn't look particularly bad. Didn't look fantastic either. He's got some good physical receivers. That's actually the next point I was looking at is how is the Browns' undersized secondary going to defend Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans? Mike Evans, a player that they arguably should have taken with top 10 pick back in May, but that ship has sailed. Speaking of Evans, so the first multi-touchdown game, he had 2 touchdowns, 7 catches, 124 yards. Didn't look like he physically dominated Joe Hayden and Buck Green when they had the matchups, but the numbers speak for themselves. This is a good day for Evans. Team doesn't get the victory, but 7 for 124, 2 touchdowns for him. You could tell when Glennon put it up where he had the physical advantage. He came away with the victory a lot. 6 catches, 86 yards for Vincent Jackson. Didn't find the end zone, but that's I believe 13 of the 17 completions that Glennon had on the day. So that's what Tampa Bay was trying to do. I thought they did it pretty well. Just situations where the Browns came away with 3 points. After third down stops, the Tampa Bay kicking game only put 3 points on the board. Just a rough day for the kicking game. He had a miss on the long 55-yarder, the block, which set the Browns up pretty well. So and that's another thing that we were looking at is just Browns playing the field position game because they don't have a punt return game, and they don't get off the field easily on third down. So teams, I think, are just trying to make it to midfield and pin the Browns deep. And and just trying to score points that way, because their defense is pretty good. Didn't look great on the ground. Bobby Rainey, the former Brown, had almost 90 yards rushing on 21 carries. So decent day for Rainey. Good to see him getting a chance in Tampa. Not good to see him gashing the Browns up front, but when you see Phil Taylor chatting with Johnny Manziel and Sweats on the sideline, that kind of explains why the Browns aren't as strong up front as they should be. Hopefully, with health, that certainly improves. Field position game, they didn't do well. They still aren't returning punts. Moore's not returning kickoffs particularly well. Obviously, the block punt, the block field goal really helps you. It helps you in the field position game. Survive. The defense stepping up. I mean, I thought that the Dante Whitner interception was just excellent. Great play by Joe Hayden to tip it back, and Whitner right place, right time. As far as the Tayshaun Gibson, who's by the way leading the NFL in interceptions with 8, was another player just in the right place, right time, just waiting to pick off the young Glennon, looking for his man in the end zone. So Brian Hoyer throws an interception. I don't know necessarily his fault. Both of them were on in patterns. The one he just threw it a little long for his guy, and it ended up in the hands of the Tampa Bay secondary. The other one was just tip ball off the helmet. Not a lot you could do, but Hoyer didn't do a good job leading his receivers. Threw a lot of balls behind receivers. Had a golden opportunity after the blocked field goal to hit a wide open Ben Tate. Doesn't throw the ball well. Tate has to tiptoe the sideline. They don't end up getting 6 there. So that hurt, but they were able to throw the ball back across the field. It seems like something that's designed quite a bit between Logan Maggins and Kyle Shanahan on the offense. Hoyer doesn't do a great job of making it look pretty, but he gets the ball there, and sometimes that's all that matters. So, and that's really the fourth thing I was looking at. Hoyer has a 300-yard day, but again, I don't think that he'll grade out particularly well when you look at the incomplete passes, when you look how he was on third down. I just don't think he does a good job getting it done, but he looked good in play action, looked good when he had time, and gets the key block from Terrence West there on the big play at the end. So, overall, I give the Browns about a C+, given the caliber of opponent. But you know what? Pittsburgh had this Tampa Bay team in their house, and they couldn't put them away. So you don't want to gripe at any point when you get a victory in the National Football League. But continuing to survive the injuries. Kudos to the Cleveland Browns for taking care of business that way. Let's see. They've got Justin Gilbert might be down. If they got to go to the to Williams, or sacrificing even more size than they are with Buster Screen in that situation. So I think overall the defense earns a B+. The offense earns about a C-, leaving this game as a reluctant joy of victory, 22-17 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thursday night they're going to have Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is what their record is. They're a good football team. They've shown weak at times. They've shown strong at times. Last week we saw them beat the Baltimore Ravens by hanging tough and playing to the final gun. So gut check time. Let's see if these Browns are playing a little bit down to their competition over these last 3 weeks. Maybe they'll play up for the Cincinnati, but they gotta go down to Cincinnati, and it's just tough to even look at historical precedent here, because this is a Mike Pettin team, which we haven't seen have to go on the road and play in the division. We saw them struggle at Pittsburgh, at least for a half of football. If they could only had a 65-minute game there in week 1, but we all know hindsight's 2020. So, but look for a challenge next week. Look to see the truth about your Cleveland Browns, and I'll be watching. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Orange and Brown Breakdown presents Rapid React on the More Than a Fan Digital Network. I'm Jeff Rich. I'll see you right here after the game on Thursday.